I had an epiphany the other day that I have been in and out of therapy for the last 10 years, and you would think after a decade of therapy, I would have learned something. I would have learned something. I'd like to think I've learned a few things. I'd hope. Again, I'd really hope. So here's 10 years of therapy in 10 minutes. I'll put timestamps down below. If something doesn't resonate with you, I'm sure something else will. Also, obvious disclaimer, I am not a therapist. This video is not a substitute for therapy. If you need help, seek professional help. Thank you so much. Anger is normal, but resentment is poison. This one was a very tough thing for me to learn. So there's this thing that like, when you spend your time being angry at someone and resenting them for something that they did to you, they don't feel that. That's just time that you're wasting. You sitting up at night thinking about how much hatred you have for someone does nothing for them. They're out living their life, most likely not thinking about you, completely unbothered. You're only ruining your night. You're only ruining your time. You're doing yourself a total disservice by rotting yourself from the inside out. And that's a fucking tough lesson because hatred is strong, resentment is strong, anger is strong. All of that they're very powerful, fiery emotions, but you just gotta learn to forgive or to forget, whatever helps you move on. Also, by the way, if my voice is like
10 octaves lower,
it's because I was out drinking last night. Absolute party animal, who knew?
Whiskey, denim, horses, just for men.
People in your life have seasons. They can have chapters, they can have moments, and that is a normal thing. It feels so personal, or it feels like a failure when someone leaves your life. No matter how justified, it always just feels like you're losing something, because you are. But it's nothing to fret about. It's so normal, and it may hurt your soul for a moment, but don't let it linger again. I think that's a theme throughout all of this, is to not linger on things that are in the past. People change and grow in completely different directions, and that's just life. There's no villain. There's nothing to be angry at about that. You just kind of let life happen. Yes, a little one for the friends with anxiety. There's no need to yell fire if you don't see flames. I get so stressed over the what ifs, all these imaginary scenarios going off in my head like bombs. Did I talk too much last night? Did I not talk enough? If I don't do this, will this happen? If I do this, will this happen? It's such a goddamn waste of time to be stressed over things that aren't happening. Don't catastrophize hypotheticals. That, like everything else on this list, are things that I had to verbalize and then work my way through. All of this takes so much time. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of vulnerability. A lot of fucking vulnerability. It's not easy to admit your faults, but once you do, you can grow from it, you can learn from it, and hopefully you can never fucking do it again. You can never fucking do it again. See? Stressor, I hardly know her. If you have medical anxiety or medical depression, you're not like just gonna magically get rid of it, but this is a way to stop it from getting out of control. Speaking of getting out of control, let's talk about your thoughts. Your thoughts aren't real. They're not tangible. They're not actually changing the world around you. They're completely contained up here. Other people don't know what you're thinking. Other people don't know what you're going through, what's cycling through your brain. It's fake. It's fictional. It might as well not exist. It doesn't mean that it doesn't have an effect on you, but there's some power that comes with knowing it has no actual effect on the world. Yes, again, it can mentally break you down. Girl, we've been there on that couch. The tears have been flooding over things that aren't actually happening. Many times, oh my God, many times. 70% polyester, 20% cotton, 10% tears. It took me a long time, but there's a technique that you can sort of learn and adopt and adapt, where you think of your thoughts as waves, and when you realize that you're experiencing like intrusive thoughts or negative thinking, you just let them go right past. Floating, you're floating on the ocean and the waves are just moving with ya. Or in my case, sometimes when I'm having intrusive thoughts or negative thoughts, I just squeeze my fist really quickly, and something about that physical action of just being like, nope, it just like stops it. It's like, just grab it. You grab it and you drop it. And again, it takes time. That's not gonna happen overnight, but practice makes perfect. We have so many more and they're so all over the place. I wanna like do an obvious one. One of the main things I learned in therapy is to be kind to yourself. We're our own biggest critics. We are so harsh on ourselves. Again, with that negative thinking of like, ugh, nobody likes me. Ugh, what I said last night was so stupid. I'm so stupid. You would never fucking say that to another person, I'd like to think. You would never say that to your friends. You would never go home and think that about people that you care about. Why are you telling that to yourself? Why are you putting yourself through that stress and that negativity? Don't allow yourself to think that way. Again, stop it before it starts. Goes back to the other one. Those thoughts aren't real. That's not really real. That's not what your friends think about you. That's not what the world thinks about you. It's just not true. Don't do it. Be kind to yourself. This bitch is number one. This is the one that I got the whole time. I better be really nice to this person. Gotta love him. That one comes up very frequently when I'm on my therapist's couch, just laying there, just looking at the ceiling, just talking. It's a constant reminder of like, no one's thinking that. No one's feeling that way. You're being too hard on yourself. Be nicer to yourself. Ooh, fuck, this one's a good one. What happened to you does not define you. The world is tough. The world is heavy. Day-to-day life can be really stressful, but that does not define you as a person, or at least you do not have to give it that control. You do not have to let it define you. I learned this very recently, but I had been using non-person first language like my entire life. I'm a depressed person. I'm an anxious person. I'm this, that, and the other person. And I started to realize that that was like slowly chipping away at my humanity. That was making me everything around me. That wasn't making me a person. That was making me all these traits or all these things that occur to a person. So I started using person first language and it made me feel more like a fucking person. I don't know. I am a person experiencing the world. Again, number one, me first, me experiencing the world, my life, my control. It all goes together. There's so much synergy in all this thinking. It's like once you get one and once you get another, they kind of like, they fuck? I don't know. They intertwine. They fuck? And that's what my therapist taught me. Feeling is healthy. Clinging on to feelings is unhealthy. Spoiler alert, she went through a huge depression period. Massive, extreme year. I don't remember years of my life. Clinically diagnosed, took medication that I couldn't even tell you what kind it was, what dose it was, because I just said, yes, sure, why not? She probably knows what medication I was fucking on. I realized that sadness and spiraling became almost like the easiest option. It was almost like a bad habit. It was almost so familiar to me that it was more comforting to just allow myself to fall into a pit of sadness than to experience the unknown or than to experience what could actually happen. It was just like, I don't know. I think I should just be really sad about it. You know what? Not showering and not eating for 3 days, that actually sounds like a really fun activity. I remember that. That was pretty great. It was like sick. There's gotta be like a clinical term to that, but it was almost like I had carved that pathway and it was just easier to keep riding it. And I realized that I was clinging onto it because it was familiar to me, because it was easy for me. Unhealthy. Unfucking healthy. Don't do that. It was abnormal for me. I didn't want to do it again. I had to figure out a way out of it. And I chose to just experience life rather than to fall into a pit of sadness and cling on to that feeling. Being a victim for me to my circumstance made me feel better in a strange way, whereas it's really only making me feel worse about myself. Yeah, we'll go with that for now. Don't wash down dessert with guilt. When you're doing fun things, when you're experiencing something good, when something lucky occurs to you, don't feel guilty about it. Again, that's all like internal shame for no reason. That's helping nobody. We spend all this time worrying if we've earned the bonus or the reward, or if we deserve the new computer or the slice of cake. Screw that. Honestly, it's immeasurable. It's undefinable whether you deserve something. What? To a certain extent, with healthy boundaries, I've learned that like, if I want it and it's not hurting anybody, I don't know, I could die tomorrow. Let's go. You know, like, who cares? I've experienced that in a lot of parts of my life that maybe I'll get into in like a full depression related video, but we don't need to get into that now. A few important notes about therapy in general. I found my therapist through a friend. I had never had a therapist when I moved to LA. I honestly didn't really even know therapy existed. It really wasn't a thing in the Midwest, frankly. And at the time, it also had like an incredibly huge stigma, like it kind of does now, but even more so. So I had a friend who went to therapy and I said, can I use your therapist? Cool. And I went to her and I've been with her ever since. Lovely lady, reminds me of my mom in like a nice, normal, not mommy issues way. I just trust her. I don't know, she's great. But I know a lot of people don't have the same experience with their therapist. They take time, you know, it's like dating, it's like shopping, you know, sometimes it's just not the right match. But for me it was, we work well together, and again, I've seen her for almost a decade, so that's pretty good. 2, therapy only works when you're honest, vulnerable, and you work at it. And that doesn't mean that I did that every time. There are times I've left therapy sessions and I'm like, I got nothing out of that. I didn't even cry. I want my money back. There are times I come in with so much confidence and I say something that stops my therapist in her tracks, like, I didn't know that about you. And it's always so funny because I'm like, well, it's always been a thing. I guess I've never told you. So to reiterate, people can't know what you're thinking. People can't know exactly what you're feeling. People can't know exactly what happened to you. You have to let them in on it. And therapy is a safe space where you can do all of that, judgment-free. You can say horrible, horrible things. You don't even have to mean it, but you can say them and then you can leave and they are locked up there. You could go in there and gossip and bitch the whole time, and guess what? No one will ever know. It's great, it's fine, it's fun. But if you really want something out of it, you have to work at it. All of this, it seems very easy, but for anyone that's experiencing any of them, they know it's habitual. It is a cycle. It's really hard to alter patterns and brain chemistry, so it takes time, effort, and practice. 3, a pretty obvious but sad aside, is that therapy is a privilege. I understand that not everyone can go to therapy, not everyone can afford therapy, the money or the time. It's becoming more accessible, and I hope one day it's just fucking free for everyone. Universal health care when? But yes, all of this is personal to me. Therapy is completely individual to you. I really do hope this helps some of you. I know that when I was experiencing extreme depression and extreme anxiety, it was nice to know that other people were experiencing it too. As kind of fucked up as that is to say. Like when I hear about other people with social anxiety, I'm like, oh, thank God. Come to me. Let's go shake in the corner. The goal is always to overcome or to learn to manage. I never want to have those feelings forever. So yes, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it resonates. If you did, please give it a like. Leave a comment down below. What's been your experience with therapy? Do you wish you could go? Have you gone? Etc., etc. We're all in this together core. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're having a great life. I love you, and I will see you super soon. Bye. Little bit scary spice that there are sirens going off at the beginning of this video. Is the alien invasion happening? Jesus Christ, there's like a dozen of them. Have a good day, kids.